I know you've been watching tons of videos trying to figure out how to get more views and more subscribers to your YouTube channel. And some of it you might have applied and it might have worked out for you. Some of it you might have applied and it hasn't worked out for you yet. So I'm going to tell you exactly what it is that you need to do, what it is that you need to focus on to get more views and subscribers on your YouTube channel. And we're starting right now. If this is your first time here though, my name is Nick. If you want to learn how to grow your channel, make videos and all types of other YouTube related stuff, start now by subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. Because I have an entire channel full of content that's going to help you do exactly that. Okay, so this video is part of my subscriber question and answer series where I'm answering your questions about YouTube. Today's question is from Jay's Family. Jay's Family says, I always make my settings every time I post a video and I still feel that YouTube does not display my videos to the viewers. What can I do to attain more viewers and subscribers? Jay's Family, that's a great question, and that's the big struggle that a lot of content creators have, because part of being a YouTuber, in addition to making the content, is having people actually watch the content, and then once they watch the content, have people enjoy it enough that they subscribe to the channel. So I'm going to tell you some things to keep in mind to make sure that you are opening up the opportunity to yourself to get more views and to get more people subscribing to the videos when they do watch them. When it comes to getting more views and subscribers on your YouTube channel, it doesn't really come down to your settings necessarily. And I'm guessing that by settings, you meant like your tags and your description and maybe even your title and your thumbnail. It does come down to your title and your thumbnail primarily in terms of getting people to click on what it is that you're doing. And what I mean by that is if you publish your videos to YouTube and you haven't really thought through your title and your thumbnail enough to where you think, hey, how relevant is this in terms of the interest of the thing it is that I'm talking about? How much of an opportunity am I really giving myself with my thumbnail and the title that I'm using? As an example, if you're a vlogger and you're making vlogging type content, of course you would be if you're a vlogger. In that situation, you still have to make sure that you're titling your videos in a way to where you make it more about the viewer. And the reason that that's important is because if you are making a video about any topic on YouTube, if you're doing gaming content, if you're doing vlogging content, if you're doing crafting content, making content about quilts, yeah, I did it again, quilts. In that situation, a video title about, I can't believe this happened, isn't something that's really going to be something that's going to grab mass appeal unless your thumbnail is off the charts, unless there's just something insane happening in your thumbnail. Because the reason that that's not going to work for you if you are a new channel especially is that you haven't built an audience yet that YouTube is going to serve some of that content to where they're going to notice that it's your content and they're going to click on it and come in and watch it because you made it. However, you will see some of the big channels doing that and it works. And because of that, you're thinking to yourself, well, why can they do it, but I can't do it? Why can PewDiePie make a video with a title that just says, and people click on it, but when I make a title that says, and people don't click on it, or when somebody like Casey Neistat makes a video that says, I can't believe this happened today, people click on it like crazy because it's Casey Neistat and they know that it's a Casey Neistat video. So right out of the gate, it's being served to tons of people all over YouTube who are already interacting with his content. And then some of those people, just by running the numbers, are going to click on those videos that are titled in that way. But when you haven't built an audience like that yet, you really have to think about what is it that would really make somebody click on this particular piece of content that I'm putting out? What is it that I can do with the thumbnail and what is it that I can do with the title in order to get people to click on what it is that I'm doing? And a few things that you can do in order to get people to click are this. One, make it about the viewer. Think about who is it that I'm actually trying to reach. And this is a really, really important part. Let me just sidebar this really quick and say that this is a really important part about doing very well on YouTube is first identifying like who is it that is primarily watching the videos that I'm putting out there, and how can I use language in my titles? How can I use imagery in my thumbnails that those people that I'm trying to reach are more likely or the most likely to actually click on? But that's a topic for a whole other video. But in order to get people to click, you have to be able to identify yourself why it is that somebody should click on your particular thumbnail and title. And you got to think, for the people that I'm trying to reach, if I don't know what's happening in the video, if I don't know what it is that this particular video is about, how is it that they are going to be able to identify through the title and thumbnail? How is it that they are going to be able to identify what they can expect from the video that they happen to be getting presented to them on YouTube on their homepage, for example? And if you can't define that thing, whatever that thing is that should get those people to click on what it is that you have, if you can't define it, they're not going to be able to define it either, right? And because of that, you have to make sure that everything that you're doing on your YouTube channel is intentional. That comes down to the way that you're writing your title. That even includes the specific order that you're putting the words in your title. You got to make sure that when you're putting your titles together, the thing that is going to grab someone's attention in terms of the topic of the video or the thing that's going to resonate with them the most, put that as close to the front of your title as possible. Even if you have to sit there and you have to rework the title a bunch of different times in order to move the words around to where the thing that's going to grab their attention first is more towards the front, do it. It's going to make a difference. As an example, some of my titles, I'll write 50 titles. And the reason for that is because it's just not there yet. I'll have to keep workshopping it. And even when I sit there and I come up with something where I'm like, yeah, I think people will dig this and this is why, then even when I make a title like that, I still keep trying to make it better because I keep trying to make it shorter. I keep trying to make it more impactful in terms of the words that I'm using so that I can try to generate a better response for that specific title for the people that I'm trying to reach on YouTube, YouTubers, which is you. But that same exact thing goes with your thumbnail as well. You have to look at your thumbnail and you have to think, okay, sure, this might be about something that's happening in the video, but why would somebody care enough about this thing that's happening in the video for them to actually want to click on this? And if you're doing how-to content, it's a little bit different because then in that case, you can show them a result or you can show them exactly what it is you're going to be showing them what to do, or you can just use text in your thumbnail telling them what to do, kind of like I do. But the idea is to where you're expressing and making it clear why they should click on your thumbnail in order for them to even be able to come into your video in the first place, where you get that first thing that you're after, which is viewers. It's also important that you consider how your thumbnails and your titles work together, because really they are a team trying to win the click for you. Because some people are just going to respond to your thumbnail because your thumbnail is going to be epic, right? Because you're putting some time into it. Some people are just going to respond to your title because they have their attention grabbed by the thumbnail, but then they look at the title. Other people are just they're going to look at your thumbnail, they're going to look at your title, and then they're going to think it through for a second, and they're going to be like, yeah, this seems interesting. Let me click on this and see what's going on in this video. So because of that, you have to give yourself the advantage of trying to hit all of those people however they might react to your thumbnail and your title combination. So your thumbnail has to be good enough to where it would encourage a click. Your title has to be good enough where it would encourage a click, and they have to work together in a way that would also encourage a click. The better you get at that, the more clicks you're going to get on your videos. But here's the thing. If you're not getting views on your YouTube channel, it might not even be that people aren't clicking. You might have that part wrapped already. You might have it to where it's like, hey, people are clicking like crazy, but YouTube still isn't showing my video. I have a high click-through rate of people, but YouTube still isn't showing my video to people. Well, I gotta let you know that a high click-through rate by itself isn't really enough, because YouTube is looking at a bunch of different things, but some of the things that they're looking at that are the most important is how often people are clicking, because that actually gets them to the video. But once they get to the video, they're looking at how much watch time that you can generate on that video. How much total watch time are they getting every single time they show your video to somebody on the platform? That's one of the most important things that they're going for. So if YouTube isn't showing your videos to people, then it could come down to, one, you're not able to get people to click, but once they do click, you're not able to get people to watch the videos for a longer period of time, which means that people are coming to your video, but then they're leaving quick. And because of that, you're not able to generate much watch time. So in order to get people, or in order to get more viewers, then in that case, you have to get people to click, but you also have to create a quality experience for them with your video content. Now look, you don't have to get them to watch your entire video. They just have to watch enough of your video in order for YouTube to deem it a satisfactory experience. And that's going to be different for every channel. It's going to be different for every video that you put out in terms of what is identified as a good experience for that content. But the goal, the thing that you're ultimately trying to accomplish, is you're trying to get people to watch your videos for a fair amount of time, a competitive amount of time per YouTube language. You're trying to get them to watch a competitive amount of time so that YouTube can see it as a quality experience for those viewers, a satisfactory experience, so that their system will start trying to identify other people that would also find your content satisfactory and click on it. Another thing that you can do to get views on your YouTube channel, or to get more viewers, I should say, is to embed yourself in the communities around the type of content that you make. And when you do that, one of the huge advantages is that when you do have a video to share, you can share it in the relevant communities, the communities that are likely to respond to your content, regardless of if you share it there or if YouTube shows it to them on the platform, those types of people. But you can share your content in those relevant communities, and you can actually pull some viewers from there as well. Not on YouTube per se, but on Reddit and on Facebook and, places like that. But if you share your content in places like YouTuber groups to where they're not really a good fit for your content, in that case, you're actually working against yourself. But if you share, let's say you do videos on Call of Duty, because I just like to use that example, but let's say you make videos on Call of Duty, for example, then in that situation, you would want to make sure that you're sharing your videos in places where they care about Call of Duty, not places where people are trying to get feedback on their videos. Because it's better to have less of the right type of viewer than more of the wrong type of viewers, because this just simply helps YouTube systems identify who the right people are to watch your content. So it's better to have less, again, I'm going to say this again, it's better to have less of the right viewers than it is to have more of the wrong type of viewers. Another thing that you can do when you are trying to get more views on your YouTube videos is, of course, how you're actually targeting your content. So when it comes to your content decisions, you have to think about, with the content that I'm making, how can I get this content in front of more people? And often a way that you can do that is by targeting search terms. Now, what I mean is that you title your videos in a way to where you're including a keyword or a keyword phrase, and you're making your video about something that people would be looking for on YouTube. And what I mean by that is that they go to the search bar, they start typing in something about the type of content that you make, and then your video would show up when they're looking for it there. YouTube search can be a fantastic source of long-term traffic to your channel, but again, you got to get people to click, which is one of the things that we talked about earlier. You have to be able to get people to click, but YouTube search is a fantastic source of easy traffic for YouTube, because then when people are looking for something, you're only competing with the people that are showing up in those search results. You're not competing with all of the other videos on the platform. And once people do start responding to your videos in search, if you're getting a good response there, YouTube will also sample your videos out and test your videos in suggested columns next to other videos or under other videos. They'll test it on the home pages to see how people respond to it there. So by giving yourself that opportunity to pull in some activity from search, then you're also giving yourself the opportunity to show up in other places once YouTube identifies that you have a quality piece of content. And another thing to consider when you are trying to get more viewers coming into your content, another thing to consider is the interest around the topic that you're talking about. So what I mean is, when you are making a certain type of content, or really any type of content, sometimes it's high interest, right? Sometimes there's tons of people looking for that type of content. Other times, it's not a ton of people looking for that type of content. So make sure when you're putting your videos together that instead of just saying, hey, I'm just going to make a video and it's just going to be about something that I want to make a video about, research and say, this is what I'm going to make my video about. I wonder if there's a bunch of other videos on YouTube that are also making videos about this type of thing. I wonder what type of view counts they're getting. I wonder what type of activity they're getting on those videos. Of course, you can manually search for this stuff on YouTube by just going to the search bar and just typing in the topic that you are going to be making your video about. But you can also use a tool called Tubebuddy that can help you navigate some of this as well. I'll put a link to them down in the description. You can try it for free, but they also have a paid version. But the idea is you want to look into the general interest on the topic that you're talking about so that you can make sure that there's enough people that care about what it is that you're making a video about for it to be worth it for you to make a video so you can get those viewers that you're looking for. But once you get the viewers, let's say that you got the viewers now, let's say you got views coming in now, that next step that you're wanting to know is, how do you actually get people to subscribe to your YouTube channel? Well, people subscribe to your channel because they can clearly see the value that you're offering on your YouTube channel. They can see it when they look at your channel page or your video page, and they can see all the videos that you've made already. They can tell by the video that they're experiencing in real time, because that's where most of your subscribers are going to come from. And they can also tell, because you have an entire channel based around a certain type of content, that there's a really good chance that the videos that you put out in the future are also going to be of value to them as well. So if you can create that to where they can see the value that they're going to get all the way across the board, because it's about the viewers, right? It's about them. That's what gets them to subscribe. So if they can see that value and they can feel and they can tell that value that they're getting from you right out of the gate when your video starts, or they just have a great experience with your video because you're thinking of the viewer first when you're putting it together, you're going to get more people subscribing to your channel. But on the flip side of that, because there's always another side, right? Balance. But on the flip side of that, one of the things that is going to happen if people come and they start interacting with your content, but it's not really put together in a way that's entertaining to them, or it's not put together in a way to where they really get anything out of the video. There's no information they're really getting. It's all over the place. There's just no clear value at all to them. They're not going to subscribe to your channel. And this is one of the things that a lot of new content creators face, is that they don't have that big back library yet to where people can see that clear value in all of the other content that they have. So because of that, they have to sell people on that, those handful of videos that they do have. This is why it's so important to niche down or to make content for a specific audience, because then once they can identify, hey, this channel only has 10 videos on it, but these 10 videos are great, and it's clear that the videos that they're making on the channel are for me. So not only is this one video awesome, but these other 10 videos that they have on the channel are also awesome. There's a channel that I subscribed to recently called Trago, and his content, it's basically teaching filmmaking in a really creative way. And the awesome thing with that, as soon as I landed on the channel, I found him on Reddit. As soon as I landed on the channel, I knew through watching the content, I was like, oh, this is great. Let me see what else this guy has. And I go and I watch some of the other videos. And when I watched the other videos, I was like, oh my gosh, he only had, at the time that I subscribed, I think he had 3 videos on the channel. And I was like, oh, this is epic. I'm subscribing. I'm gonna watch most of the videos that this person puts out. And I have. So because of that, and the channel, again, it's Trago. I'll put a link to it down in the description. But he only has a handful of videos. I think he's approaching 10,000 subscribers already if he hasn't hit it yet at the time of this recording. But it's crystal clear what he's offering. It's really good content. I get tons of value from it because I learned something. And the other videos on the channel are also something that I get value out of. And I can see that, hey, he's going to keep putting out awesome content that's going to teach me tons of stuff in a new creative way. So your job when you're trying to convert viewers into subscribers is you just have to think, what is it that I'm offering, right? If you set up a company of some kind, one of the things that you have to do when you set up that company is like, what is the unique value that people are going to get from our business? What's the unique value that they're going to get from buying stuff from us instead of all the other people that offer a similar thing, right? And that can be that you offer it in a completely different way. And that can be the same exact thing with your YouTube channel. The videos that you're putting out, you just have to identify what is it that people actually get from what it is that I do. For example, if you look at my content, right? The stuff with my content, the reason people respond so well to it is because I shortcut the learning process when it comes to YouTube. I teach people all the stuff that I'm teaching you in this video, and with all the other tools and everything else that you need to run a successful YouTube channel, I teach you all of that stuff. And because of that, the value that I give from my YouTube channel and the value that you receive, it's crystal clear that, hey, I should subscribe to this channel. And if you haven't yet, make sure that you do. But the idea is that it's crystal clear what it is that I offer here. And because of that, you get tons of value from the content that I put out, which encourages or causes people to subscribe at a high rate to my YouTube channel. So what you have to do as a content creator is you have to think, okay, what is it that I'm offering? If it's entertainment, am I really as entertaining as I think? And if I am entertaining, then how obvious is it to the viewer that I am entertaining? Because so far, if people aren't subscribing, then they might not be finding you as entertaining as you think that you are. I'm not saying you're not entertaining, but I'm just saying you have to, face that, and you have to say, okay, how can I be more entertaining so it's more clear that I am putting out entertainment content? If you're doing music content or gaming content, same exact thing applies. You have to be able to identify that value that people are getting from you, because just watching you play a game or just listening to one of your songs might not be enough. It might have to be to where you have some of your content to where you're showing people how to do things, helping them with something so that they can identify that that's the value that they're going to get from you. And then they can come in and they can start watching some of your other content as well. If you're doing music in that situation, then that song that they're listening to might not be enough for, a lot of the people that are coming through, and your conversions might be very low on a song. But if you are getting people through a playlist and they're noticing that, hey, song after song after song of this person's really awesome, and I'm encouraging people to listen to my videos in playlists instead of just watching them one off, then in that situation, what you're doing is you're creating an experience for the viewer to where you're demonstrating video after video, song after song, that they're getting something awesome from you and that they like all of the music or most of the music that you're putting out, which then in turn is going to cause more people to subscribe to what it is that you're doing. So if you're making music content, drive people into playlists. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to people being able to identify exactly what it is that they're going to get from you, exactly how much they enjoy your content, or exactly what it is that they are going to receive from watching your content, the value that they are going to get. So you got to make that clear. And as long as your content supports it, you got to remember to ask people to subscribe as well, because sometimes people are so immersed in your content and they just love what it is that you're doing. They're not thinking about subscribing. We do as YouTubers, but just regular viewers, civilians, I call them, but with regular viewers, they're not thinking about, hey, I need to make sure I'm subscribing to all these channels. They're just enjoying content. So your job as a content creator is just to remind them. You don't have to cram it down their throat, but just remind them, hey, if you're enjoying this content so far and you want more of it, make sure you subscribe, or tell them specifically what it is that you offer and then invite them to subscribe. To learn more about growing your YouTube channel, click into this playlist right here. Tons of great videos in there for you. And I also have an entire channel full of content that will help you. And if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.